Good evening, everyone. My name is Enza. I'm the CEO of Kinship Carers UK. I'm also a kinship carer. So speaking of lots of experience, because he's 21 now. And tonight we're having our second meeting with lovely Susan.
Hello to everybody.
Just to remind you, Sweet Families, would you like to tell everybody just a little bit about Sweet Families so we've all got a good idea of what we're talking about tonight?
That's right, yeah. I'm a play and filial therapist, and I spoke about what that job entails last week. And as part of my job as well, I've set up a website called Sweet Families, which provides online information, resources, articles, etc. for parents and families and adopters and kinship carers to help them with their children.
Brilliant. And I actually did look at the website and I looked at your videos as well. So there are some really good links to lots of information. There's blogs, I've noticed.
Yes, I'm starting. They're not all finished, but slowly I'm adding to it.
Yeah. And there's other things. Would you like just to explain what's on your website so people can have a look? And
yeah, I mean, obviously we told a little bit about Sweet Families and what we do, but I also trying to provide some resources as well. So on there are a few different things that you could print off and do with your children that are all free. And I also try and write they're called blog posts, but really some information really to help families understand the children's behaviours and what might have happened to them, and some strategies really to try to really put into practice. There's also some links there to products that I've bought and use in my practice. We'll look at a few of those tonight as well, that you can buy yourselves.
Brilliant, thank you. And last week we were talking about your magic box, and I think this magic box will be an absolutely fantastic resource. Would you like to explain to people what the magic box is, please?
Well, if you've heard of a calm box, which I think most people have done, this is my version of a calm box really, so I've called it the magic box. And I think one of the things that when I'm working with families, they want actual hands-on practical activities to do and practical ways of helping children manage. So when children are having really strong feelings that they can't manage themselves, a calm box or my magic box is something that you can direct them towards. And when I'm working with families, I've noticed that, they need a lot of help in how to use the box as well. So I've written a guide, and that's what is available for you guys. It's called the Magic Box Guide. Just hold it up and then you can have a look.
Brilliant. And where do we find that?
On my website under products.
Brilliant, thank you.
There's two on there. One's aimed at families for the home, and the other one is aimed at schools. So it's just slightly different with a few slightly different resources that are more appropriate for a school setting.
To be honest, lots of people, including myself, have not heard about a calm box before.
Okay.
So your calm box and your magic box, they're the same thing, I presume.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I mean, most calm boxes just have a box or a bag or something with lots of sensory items in there that can help children regulate their feelings. The thing that's different about mine is that I've added in lots of resources that you can use as well that come as part of the guide. And the guide itself explains a lot about how to set it up, how to use it, when to recognise the signs of a bit of distress, so that we can try and put it into place before the feelings escalate. And the resources are in there to help the children manage their own feelings, because we want them to be able to what's called self-regulate. I'm sure you've all heard of that, but being able to manage your own feelings, not just for the adult on the outside to help you manage the feelings. We want children to be able to manage them themselves. So the resources in there are about helping them to become independent in managing those feelings.
Mm-hmm.
So calm boxes are fantastic. They're basically full of sensory items and games and activities that can help a child just to bring their strong feelings down.
Right, okay. So who does it benefit then, the calm box, the magic box, sorry. Who does magic box, who does it benefit, you or as in you, the adult, or the child, or is it a thing that you do together? Or
I mean, both children and adult will benefit, won't they? Because, you know, if a child is dysregulated and not, you know, out of control, not knowing what to do, adults can feel frustrated too, because then it's like, how do I help? What do I do? What do I say? You know, so it can help the adult because it gives you a concrete activity. It gives you something that you can say, right, okay, I can see that you're feeling upset or worried or angry. Let's see if there's something in the calm box that can help. So it gives adults that role that they know how to direct the child to something. And clearly it helps the child because they're starting to see that actually they don't need to feel out of control of their feelings. They can have a sense of control. And then they begin to recognise, when I do this, I start to feel calmer. And that's a really important clue for them then, really. It's just, right, that's what's happening. You know, I'm feeling upset and angry. And when I use, you know, for example, the glitter rainbow, and I watch it, I can feel my feelings starting to come down, so I don't feel quite so anxious or cross or angry. So it's a benefit to both child and adult, really.
So you talked about it can help when the child's being dysregulated. What other things can it help with?
I think for some children, you know, anxiety and worries can play on their minds, and they can overthink things. So there's a little bit in the guide about what's called cognitive behavioural therapy approach, a CBT approach, which in just very simple terms, it helps the child to understand that there is a link between the thoughts that they have, the feelings that they experience in their bodies, and what they actually do, the behaviour. And there's a link. And if you change any one of those things in that magic circle, if you like, then things can feel differently. So one of the things inside the guide, for example, is some positive self-talk cards. So in here, there's a selection of them. There's some blank ones for you to add your own as well. So children can start to challenge those thoughts that they're having. So some of those thoughts might be, I'm bad, I'm never any good, I always get things wrong. And that negative thought triggers a behaviour, and it also triggers a feeling in the body. So I think what's really helpful, and I found all the things that I've put in the box have been helpful to all my families. And so, you know, it's about helping children to be able to recognise those feelings in the body and be able to challenge the thoughts and then change the behaviour. It won't happen instantly. It's a journey, you know. It didn't happen instantly that they began to feel that way and think that way. So it takes time. But all the methods in there are kind of things that I've noticed and families have told me have helped them.
How old do they have to be? When can it start?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, as young as any age really. They'd probably need to be around about 4 or 5 before they could benefit from the cards that are in here, which are more directive cards, you know, towards activities. But even a very young child will benefit from a sensory experience. So when they're feeling, I think we touched on this last week actually, that, you know, if a child is feeling anxious, worried, angry, Play-Doh is a great sensory thing, you know. So if even a very young child, 2 and 3, can benefit from that. And also, even at that young age, being able to sort of use one of the other things in there, we've got some feelings cards in here as well. So being able to recognise the feeling and you giving them the words for that, you know. I think that a very young child, and right up until, you know, 14, 15, I had a 14-year-old.
Or 21.
Yeah, exactly. We're all on the same journey, really. I have had a much older girl, 14, who created her own magic box out of things that she found really useful, and it was a great benefit to her. So yeah, age is not really a big deal.
So you said you can start to help them recognise their feelings. So when they're very angry, you can just say, I know you're feeling angry. Let's look at this card, which they won't look at, but let's go and have a look at the box to see if it'll calm you down.
I mean, most often when children first start using it, it's the actual sensory items that they will go for, you know. So, you know, if you might have, say, 4 or 5 different things inside the box. and you can, and mostly they'll go for those first. So if it's something that's a real stretchy can tube,
Ooh, I
like
like
this,
that.
yeah, these come in all sorts of different colours. They can tie them in knots, you know. So and you can be there with them at the time and be able to reflect those feelings. You know, it feels like you're all knotted up inside, you know, really wanting to stretch it out. You know, you could be there with them, or sometimes they need to just have a bit of space as well. And have a bit of time on their own within that. But one of the other things that I use a lot with families that's really, that I've put inside here, are what is called scales, if you like. So these come as part of the guide.
Yeah.
So can you see that okay? So
Yeah.
there's various ones. This one's a kind of angry one.
Yeah.
So once they are feeling a little bit calmer, being able to talk to them about feelings being on like a scale, really. And they might start out right at the very top, even more than angry. They might be in a rage, you know? But then when you use the bendy things, yeah, and we look back at it, I wonder where your feelings might be now. And they might say, oh, well, actually, they're down to just upset.
Yeah.
So they're starting to get a sense that they can control those feelings by doing something different. And so that these are really, really useful. There's an angry one, a really worried one, a sad one, and a happy one as well.
And that's all in the pack.
And that's all in the pack. Yeah, you print them off, and they're downloadable. You can print them off, and I mean, I laminate a lot of my things. You know, cover them in the plastic, just because it's a really nice thing. You can keep using them then. Yeah.
And there's lots of printers that will actually laminate them for you for virtually
oh right, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I met a printer and I said I needed some things laminated. He said, yeah, leave it with me and come back in an hour, and because it wasn't very much. So you can go to printers and have them laminated. One thing I'm quite interested in, that bendy toy and the toys on your desk. Where do you get them from? Because they're not in toy shops, like general off the street toy shops.
Some of these things are you can get from, I mean, I've had lots of things from really cheap shops, you know, like Poundlands and things. They have a lot of sensory things, like the squeezy balls, you know, stress balls. I mean, you do have to be a bit careful with balls, because if you put something in a ball like this, for some children, throwing it at something is obviously what they're going to do. So if you don't want them to do that, don't put it in.
That's a good idea.
For other children, you know, make them a target, you know, and say, okay, so when you're feeling angry, you can throw it at the target or throw it at the cushion. So one of the things the guide explains as well is about limits and what limits to put on. Because again, I think we spoke a bit about this last week. You know, children actually feel safer when there's boundaries and limits. And so it's not just a free-for-all, you know. The box is kept just for the times when they need it. It's not for any other time. It's not just to play with. It's just to help them manage their feelings. So, for example, there's a printable lid, a poster that you can put on the lid as well. So my magic box helps me be the boss of my feelings. And there's a little bit of a guide in there about making rules, so that you can put that inside the box as well. So some of those rules might be, for example, you can use the calm box or the magic box for 10 minutes. I'll let you know when there's 2 minutes left and 1 minute to finish. And that's about making it feel like in 10 minutes you will be able to feel calmer. You know, you don't need to stretch on for an hour, actually. And so by you setting that limit, if they still say, I still feel, you know, then you use the... you could use the scale. Yeah. And if then they say, well, I still feel quite worried, you could say, okay, well, I have 5 more minutes with the calm box. And that, so you're kind of measuring it. And there's that expectation then. You're setting that expectation that you will be able to feel better. And the boundaries around it are helping them to feel safer. So and there's quite a lot of detail about that in the guide.
Does it shorten the outbursts, does it?
Definitely, 100%. You know, I mean, that's the feedback I've been getting from families, really, in the years I've been using all these strategies, really, that it helps because it's almost like there's something I can do. So for some children, they really need to do something. They've got a lot of excess energy in their hands, in their feet, You know, there's something that they need to do. And actually, the other thing that's in the box are these little cards, which are kind of positive strategies. So it might be something in the box that they can do, but for other children, it might be that they need to go and jump on the trampoline for 5 minutes, you know. But the fact that they can go to their calm box and choose the activity and say, okay, I know this helps me feel calmer. You know, so you're learning as the adult what helps your child, and the child's learning what helps them.
Right.
So definitely just short and outbursts, yeah.
So what other things do you have? Do you have any soft, cuddly things in your box?
Yeah, you can have. I don't actually have any soft toys in here at the moment, but again, I think what the important thing is to choose things that you know that your child will benefit from. And for a little bit older child, you know, from sort of 5 to 6 years old, you can talk to them about it as well. You know, so again, there's some information in the guide about how to explain the box to your child. And this is the real big difference. You know, I think the how, the why, the when to use it, explaining it to your child, the language that you use is the difference between it being an okay strategy and a really effective, good strategy that works well. And that's why I wrote the guide really for my families, because, you know, they were saying, well, we're not sure what to say, or they were going and getting it and using it all the time, or, you know, so the guide is really there to help you find that out. But deciding what to put in there is thinking, okay, what do you think my child it'll help them, but also putting items in there and saying together, we'll try this out and see if it works. Using the scale, did that work or didn't it work? And you can put things in and take them out until you've found things that work. There is an activity in there as well that can help you with this. So it's called the alarming adrenaline.
Oh, right.
It talks about all the effects of what's happening when you feel scared, angry, worried. And it talks about the effects in your body. So going through this with a child, and again, they need to be 5, 6 plus, so not the tiny ones for this, but you can download this and talking to your child about, you know, how does it feel in your body when you get angry? How does it feel in your body when you feel worried? Then they can identify that. And when they've done that, you might notice straight away that actually, you know, so for some children, they tell me that it's in their hands and their feet and they feel this tension. So they would benefit from toys that use their hands, or activities where jumping on the trampoline, etc., getting rid of that nervous energy. For other children, they might want the soft toy and it can be soothing and calm. So I think it's about choosing things for your child. But would you like me to show you a few things that I've
please.
got? Yeah.
Oh, yes, please. Definitely.
And what the things on my website are the toys that I've bought, and so that I can recommend if you like. They're all available through Amazon, but you can get some things quite cheaply. And also in the guide, I've written some ideas of things you can make as well. So you don't have to spend a lot of money. Nothing's expensive particularly. So we've done the sort of stretchy, bendy thing. This is a nice one for children who like something a bit more soothing. So it's just, and you can make this yourself, although you can buy them. It's a bit like a curtain ring.
Yeah.
And hanging off it are ribbons of all different colours. So it's a really nice sort of sensory experience. You know, it's very, very soothing. That they can
we've got a young lady. Yeah, we've got a young lady called Hannah, who's actually making these. They're doing an activity in the summer, and she's
that's wonderful.
Made some of these, so we can find you some of those if you can't find any, or I'll get Hannah to sort it out with you. But
that's lovely. It's a great idea. I mean, and the other thing you can do is make them with your children, can't you? And so then they've got things that they've actually made in there.
Yeah.
These are nice little things, just like little fidget toys, they're called.
Yeah.
So the little cube, I've got a couple of different ones, and on each side of the cube there's different things to press. The clickers, you probably can't hear it.
I can hear it.
Little like codes that you can put into it. They're really nice. They're just fiddly kind of toys. I tend to try and find a timer as well. so that they've got, some children particularly need to see a visual timer so they can see exactly how long. This is quite a small one. You can get them in all different sizes.
Yeah.
Tangles, you've probably all heard of Tangle toys.
Yeah.
Again, you know, they're just a twisty, tangly toy.
Is that like the chewy?
This is very popular.
Was that like the chewy jewellery you can get? Jewellery. Yeah. Is that the one that they can chew?
No, one? I've got a Lego chew one somewhere that's got a cord around and a like a Lego thing that you can do. Yeah. No, this is more that it's just something that you do in your hands.
Yeah. And
tangle it together. So it's quite a nice, easy one. Things that they can watch. And again, there's lots of things on Pinterest as well where you can make these.
Oh,
so
right.
you can do them in a jar or a bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And put glitter and the sort of shiny shapes in there. And this has got coloured sand, I think, in as well. And it's a very calming activity to watch. And again, like I say, you can make those.
I like that one.
For some children, it's about, so when we talked about changing the thoughts, it's about giving them something else to think about as well. So when they've got a lot of racing thoughts, if they tell you that when they do their activity, you know, that they've got a lot of racing thoughts in their head, giving them something else to do to change that. So it could be, these are little tiny sort of connecting, it's just a construction thing really. They just all put together, but they come in all different colours, so they could sort them. So it could be that, you know, sorting all the oranges together or the others together, or just building something. It takes the thoughts away from what is worrying them and makes them think about something else. And on that, there is a couple of breathing exercises in there. So for some children, they really benefit from, I'm trying to find the square breathing. There it is. Some children really benefit from breathing exercises, mindfulness kind of things, and others don't. So it is about trying it and going, you know, this works or it doesn't work. But again, this is really helpful for changing not only how you feel in your body, but the racing thoughts, because you've got to concentrate on the counting. So they start at, and you've got the visual to use with them. You start down here, you breathe in while counting to 4, and you hold your breath while counting to 4, breathe out while counting to 4, and then do nothing while you count to 4. And you do it all 4 times.
I've just done that while you were counting it.
And it's a really, yeah, it's simple. There's lots of others there as well. There's belly breathing as well, where you put a soft toy on your belly, and as you're breathing in, your belly comes up, and as you breathe out, and the teddy bear moves up and down, the soft toy moves up and down. All these kinds of things are meant to help either the thoughts, the feeling, or the behaviour. They're all linked together. A couple of other things. This is a nice one, particularly nice for children who do get quite cross and sometimes will hurt themselves. You know, and that's obviously something that we don't want them to do. But there are these little snap bands. I don't know if you've seen them, but this is a sensory one. So you can snap it onto your wrist.
Oh, yeah.
And it goes around. You'll have seen them around.
Yeah.
And then it snaps back out. But it's quite a nice sensation. It kind of slaps their hand, but it doesn't hurt. But it gives them that feeling, you know, that they are just able to do something.
Yeah.
It's an urge, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'll just show you one more. These come in a little bag as well, and these are lovely. They're called monkey strings.
They're called what, sorry?
I think they're called monkey strings.
Oh, monkey.
Yeah, it's like elastic bands, I think, all sort of put together. But again, you know, you can have 2 or 3 of these in your kit. They feel really nice. You can juggling, you know. They won't hurt if they do throw them. They're very, very soft and very sensory. So you're looking for things that are sensory. Yeah. You could make your own Play-Doh, put a lump of that in there as well. I would suggest not putting stuff in that's too messy, because otherwise you've got another issue, haven't you? Then
yes, definitely a cleaning up issue.
So if your child makes a lot of mess with Play-Doh, don't put it in.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to increase the stress levels for yourself either.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a few little things you can put in there. Like I say, have a look. I mean, I think you'll come up with your own ideas as well. You know, there's all sorts of things you can put in. Don't overload the box when you first create it. So this one here is just an empty shoebox, and it's been decorated with stickers. So get the child involved in making it with you, or you can just buy a box, maybe something like this.
Yeah.
And put it in. You don't have to use a box, you can use a bag, it doesn't matter. But you want it to be contained, not too big. Don't overload it to start with, and then refresh it every 2 or 3 weeks. But the guide is really useful in order to learn how to set it up, really, how to use it.
So is the guide suitable for toddlers, sort of preschool children? Can you start, because these children, our children have anxieties, have issues, well, not all of them, but have attachment issues and other things that have happened in their lives. So when they're little, is it worth starting something like this?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, you know, you'd limit it. You'd have 2 or 3 things in there, maybe. For a much younger child, I'd suggest you stay with them as well, not leave them to get on with it, you know. And you might have to actually, and actually with all children, you might have to actually explain what you could do, you know. Maybe you could try this, you know. And obviously with little ones, with real little ones, you wouldn't necessarily use the activity cards. But I would suggest you begin to use the actual feelings cards, because even young children can begin to say, you know, oh, and then you could practice faces together, couldn't you? You know, you could practice smiley faces, etc. There's all sorts of things you can do with those as well. Yeah. Very simple family figures, basically. Again, these are on my website, and they're not bendy or anything. They're just different coloured family, and there's a dog in there as well. But the good thing about this is that if they do want to play out something, they could. You know, we talked last week about in play therapy how children play out emotion with the imaginary toys. So the little families are quite good for that.
Brilliant.
But don't go too mad on the crafty kind of things. It's not a craft box as such.
No.
It's more about you don't want it to end up being a craft session.
Yeah. So how do we go about getting your magic box?
It's available on my website. So if you go to sweetfamilies.com, and there's a products tab, and if you go into there, you'll see the products to buy. There's only the magic box. So there's 2 versions: the magic box and the magic box for schools. You can download it from there, and we're offering a discount for Kinship Carer members.
Thank you.
So it's quite. It's normally $7.99, but we're offering it to you guys for £5.
Oh, thank you.
So if you send me either go on the Facebook page and message me, or through the website, then we will send you a discount code, and we're going to have that discount code available to the end of August.
Brilliant, thank you.
So you'll get a special discount.
Brilliant, thank you very much. That's lovely. That's really, really good. So everything is downloadable.
Yeah.
So that's, and if you haven't got a printer, you can go to the local library, I suppose, and print it off there.
That's a good idea, actually. Yeah, like you say, there are shops around as well, aren't there, that do. If you take your little memory stick, if you put it onto a memory stick and take it that way, they'll print them out. And maybe even photograph places will do that as well.
Or ask a friend. I'm sure everybody's got a friend that can do it for them.
You don't have to laminate them. You can just print them out as they are. They just last a bit longer if you do, that's all.
I'm just going to check my phone and see if we have any questions that people would like to comment on. Otherwise, let's have a look. I can't, oh, here we go. I can't see any questions at all.
But if anybody does have any questions, they can message me on Facebook. That'd be fine, and I'd be happy to try and answer them.
Yeah, all you have to do is go to Sweet Families on Facebook. That's all you need to type in. and Suzanne will be there for you to help you with your issues.
I'll do my best.
Thank you so much. You've been absolutely brilliant.
I've enjoyed it.
And so helpful. Well, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
And it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Okay, thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.